So we have another Star Wars employee coming out and showing all of the fans that they do not like us. If you don't love the sequel trilogy, if you don't love the High Republic, they do not like you and they do not want you a part of the fandom. If you love the original trilogy, if you love the prequels and you don't love the sequel trilogy, get out of the fandom. That's pretty much what these Star Wars employees tell us over and over again. And for some reason, it seems like a recurring theme for the High Republic authors to attack the fans for either being a certain race or liking a certain movie or disliking a certain movie. But once again, we have another High Republic author who shows the fans that they do not like us. Unless you blindly love every single thing that Disney Star Wars puts out, unless you love the sequel trilogy and you love every High Republic book and comic, they want you out of the fandom. We have all these false leaks coming out of Lucasfilm, these false Reddit leaks saying that there's no civil war at Lucasfilm. You have to be an absolute idiot to believe that stuff, and it seems like every single month, every other week almost, we get more and more confirmation that there is a civil war at Lucasfilm, that there is a huge faction inside of Lucasfilm that's working on Star Wars content that does not like the Star Wars fandom. And we just got yet another example of this a couple of days ago with Daniel Jose Older talking about Rian Johnson directing an episode of The Mandalorian. But that's not the only thing that Daniel has done to spite the Star Wars fans who don't like the High Republic, and it's damn sure not the only thing the High Republic authors have done to spite the fans either. Let's get into it. Shout out to the Twitter account Rian Johnson for this tweet. So Star Wars Holocron tweeted out that Rian Johnson wants to direct an episode of The Mandalorian and has spoken to Dave Filoni about it. We reported on that yesterday. I already gave my thoughts on Rian Johnson directing a Star Wars episode a couple of videos ago. If you do want to see that, go check that out. A lot of people didn't like what I had to say, but I'm not going to form my opinions around the public opinion of this space that I'm in. Just so I don't get dislikes on a video, I'm going to speak my mind regardless of what the consensus is around this space. I refuse to conform to the mob even if they really hate what I have to say. I'm still going to get it off of my chest. So Star Wars Holocron tweeted out that Rian Johnson wants to direct the Mandalorian episode. Okay, who cares? So Daniel Jose Older responds to that tweet about Rian Johnson wanting to direct the Mandalorian episode, and he said that would be amazing. Now I have a hard time believing that anyone is that excited about any director directing anything in the history of the universe. It's kind of like when the Disney CEO came out and said Kathleen Kennedy would be the president of Lucasfilm for years to come, and you have people tweeting out, oh thank God Kathleen Kennedy is the best president ever, she's done so good for Star Wars. Like, come on man, there's no way you're that excited about Kathleen Kennedy running Lucasfilm. I could see you being that excited about an actual Star Wars character doing something like Luke Skywalker coming back in the Mandalorian finale, or the fact that Hayden Christensen is returning for the Kenobi show. I even got emotional when that was announced. But when a director says that he wants to direct an episode of a show, there is no way that anyone is this excited for that. I don't even hate Rian Johnson as much as everyone else does, and I'm not even excited for this at all. And in fact, I really don't care. And if the Disney CEO said that Kathleen Kennedy was fired tomorrow, I wouldn't even be ecstatic. I would get a small hit of dopamine and move on about my day. I would probably make a small tweet about it, but I wouldn't praise the gods for her being fired. It's so obvious that these people don't actually care about Kathleen Kennedy being the president of Lucasfilm. They don't care about Rian Johnson directing an episode of The Mandalorian. They're just tweeting this stuff out to show the fans that they don't like them. They're just trying to get a rise out of the Star Wars fans. And honestly, it works because this isn't the first time Daniel Jose Older has tweeted out something like this, and it damn sure isn't the first time a High Republic author has tweeted something out like this. Like I said, it seems to be a recurring theme that High Republic authors attack Star Wars fans or just want to show Star Wars fans that they don't like you. They don't like the fans that are consuming their content. But anyway, Daniel Jose Older tweets out, that would be amazing if Rian Johnson directed an episode of The Mandalorian. Which, I mean, that's fine. If you're really that excited about Rian Johnson possibly directing an episode of The Mandalorian, that's fine. I don't believe for a second that you're that excited, but if you are truly that excited for Rian Johnson possibly directing an episode, then good for you. But this is the tweet that I and a lot of other people who are in the Star Wars fandom had a problem with. And once again, it just proves that there is a civil war in Lucasfilm. It proves that Kathleen Kennedy's faction is extremely toxic, and it proves that all these people in the Kathleen Kennedy faction do not like Star Wars fans unless they blindly love the sequel trilogy and blindly love the High Republic. Daniel Jose Older replies to his own tweet and says, if nothing else, for the cosmic cognitive dissonance it would cause. He just wants to see turmoil in the Star Wars fandom. He just wants to see all of the Star Wars fans mad. That's all these people want. They just want us to be mad. They just want us to hate Star Wars even more than we already do. They want to make content. They actively make content to make us angry, to make the people who actually love Star Wars, who love the original trilogy and the prequels, they want to make us angry. And for the life of me, I cannot understand why. I cannot understand why they don't want these super fans of Star Wars to consume their content, to make them all of this money. If they just made content that was geared towards us, like The Mandalorian, for example, they would make so much money. But instead, they hire these people. Kathleen Kennedy is hiring these people who actively hate the Star Wars fandom. Why are you hiring people to make Star Wars content, to write Star Wars books, who hate Star Wars fans? It just doesn't make any sense to me. There's so much money being left on the table, and it further proves that there is a civil war going on at Lucasfilm. There's one side with Jon Favreau and Dave Filoni who just want to make good content. They truly do want to please the fans, and they actively put stuff in their stories that please the fans. And then there's the other side of Pablo Hidalgo and Kathleen Kennedy, who for some reason don't like making money off of Star Wars fans, and they actively put stuff in their stories. They actively tweet stuff out that makes Star Wars fans angry and makes Star Wars fans hate them even more. They're actively trying to make Star Wars fans not want to consume their content and not want to purchase their products. I don't know how this makes any sense in their heads. Someone someone make this make sense to me, please. I mean, if you go back a few months to the Pablo Hidalgo Star Wars theory situation, that's example number 1. And in reality, Pablo Hidalgo has been doing stuff like that ever since the release of The Last Jedi, so it's not really example number 1, it's just the most recent example. But Star Wars Theory posts a video on YouTube of him getting emotional at something because it's so good. Content that Star Wars, that Lucasfilm, the company that you work for, the company that you do a lot for, created. And then you reply to a tweet of him crying at something that you've created. He's crying because it's good. You reply to him crying with emotions aren't for sharing. Once again, further proof that one faction at Lucasfilm does not like Star Wars fans. They do not want to please Star Wars fans at all. And when people like Jon Favreau and Dave Filoni create content that does please Star Wars fans, they do not like it. They do not want anyone getting excited for their content. They don't want anyone showing any signs of enjoying the content that Jon Favreau and Dave Filoni are creating, because they only want fans around. They only want fans consuming Star Wars content that blindly love the sequel trilogy and blindly love the High Republic. The only content that matters to people like Pablo Hidalgo and Daniel Jose Older and Justina Ireland are Kathleen Kennedy creations. And speaking of Justina Ireland, another High Republic author, let's take a look at some of her tweets. Publishing really does love it when white people write about racism, don't they? White nonsense gets up early, but I get up earlier. Just kidding, white nonsense never sleeps. You see guys, that's something called humor. Justina Ireland is very good at it. She's very funny, and that's a recurring theme in her tweets. Oh, here's another great example of Justina Ireland humor. Did you fart? No, it's just me summoning my stand. White privilege. What? I've showed that one in a video before, and to this day, I don't understand what this means. Someone please explain in the comments. I can't for the life of me understand this. But what's even harder to understand is why this type of person is employed at Lucasfilm and writing Star Wars content. And she's even tweeted out before that if you don't like her politics, if you don't agree that all white people are bad, then you shouldn't read her book, because she's inserting her own politics into her Star Wars books, which is my main complaint with Star Wars right now. Once again, don't care if women are in Star Wars. Once again, don't care if minorities are in Star Wars. I think both of those things need to be in Star Wars, but the problem starts when you start inserting modern day politics that aren't timeless into Star Wars, because that's how you ruin, and that's how they have ruined Star Wars over the last few years. But every time I say stuff like this, I just get called every single istophobe in the book, because that's the only response that they have to that type of statement. Oh, and real quick, Daniel Jose Older has also made fun of Gina Carano whenever she was fired from Lucasfilm. He also retweeted that Rewriting Ripley article that called all of us white supremacists, and by all of us, I don't mean me. I wasn't mentioned in the article, thank God, but I mean everyone in this space. Everyone who doesn't like the sequel trilogy, everyone who doesn't like politics in their Star Wars was called a white supremacist. And Daniel Jose Older, a High Republic author, retweeted that article. And I'll show you one more example of a High Republic employee attacking Star Wars fans. I could go on forever, but I don't want to make this video an hour long, so let's only do one more. Let's move on to everyone's favorite High Republic host, Christina Ariel. So as you can see, Christina Ariel is the host of the High Republic show, whatever the hell that means. And Christina tweeted out this: watching two white men discuss racism they will never experience will never sit right with me. And I believe she was talking about the presidential debates. The number of white women I've had do foul shit to me and then blame me for being intimidating is mind-boggling. White people will defend a fictional character before they'll stand up for black people. Like I said, I could go on and on with Daniel Jose Older, Christina Ariel, and Justina Ireland tweets. It seems like every other day I go on my burner account because I'm blocked on my main account, check their Twitter, and they tweeted something else that's racist or just against Star Wars fans. And honestly, it's just exhausting at this point. I'm kind of tired of talking about it, but I feel like I have to, because if no one talks about it, if we all just give in to the hatred of Star Wars fans, then how will we ever make change? So let me know what you guys think about Daniel Jose Older attacking Star Wars fans once again. And how do you feel about it being a recurring theme within High Republic employees that they just hate Star Wars fans? And how do you feel about it being a recurring theme within High Republic employees that they absolutely hate Star Wars fans? If you want to support the channel, check out all of the new merch that I just dropped. The link to that will be in the description. If you did enjoy the video, please leave a like on the video and subscribe to the channel. If you want to follow me on Twitter or join the Discord, both of those links will be in the description as well. Thank you for watching the video, and I'll see you on the next one.